exceptional NFL defensive back for the Cincinnati Bengals, successful college coach at his alma mater, FAMU. The football credentials are exemplary, but it must also be noted that Riley, while a student at FAMU, was a Rhodes Scholar candidate. While playing at Florida A&M, Riley was one of the most distinguished players in black college football.
They call him the Rattler. He strikes quickly and from out of nowhere. For the past 15 seasons, he has put his body and soul into each play like a rookie, praying for a spot in the lineup. The younger players want to follow in his footsteps. After 15 years, the Rattler was retiring, and the Bengals' last home game was dedicated to him. Ken Riley joined the Bengals in 1969 and made an immediate impact on NFL receivers. Riley is fourth on the NFL's all-time interception list with 65, and throughout his career, he has taken on some of the best receivers in NFL history, not only on the field, but on paper.
I used to keep a little book, Lamar Parrish and myself. I used to study a lot of film. I used to study Willie Brown, Emmett Thomas, and some of the guys who were, all pro at the time, early in my career. And I used to jot down information on the receivers that beat me, what moves they used to beat me. And I did it so that if I played them again, then I would make the same mistake twice.
So 15 years later, Ken Riley found himself wearing stripes, while his opponents found themselves seeing stars. He led the team in the AFC with 8 interceptions and scored twice in his last season.
A quick shot out in the flat. It's intercepted by Kenny Riley, and it'll be a touchdown. Down to the 10-5 touchdown. Kenny Riley picked off Jack Johnson's first pass out of the left flat.
Ken Riley is a classic performer who will be sorely missed in Cincinnati.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Night Football with Bengal Jim and friends. And guys, season's over. Season's over.
Yeah. James, you're on mute, buddy. You got to unmute yourself.
It might be safer if I stay on mute the whole day. Jimmy might get mad at me.
Hey, I'm just going to end the year. Last thing we got I did some peanut butter whiskey here today. James doesn't like this, or as his name is today, as you can see in the screen. Why is Lou still here? We'll talk about that here in a little bit, guys. But let's get off. There's so much stuff to talk about. So that 9 or 10 minute intro we just did with a video clip was obviously a lot of Ken Riley highlights. Very special player in Cincinnati Bengals football history, and we have Ken Riley II, his son, here. And I'm very excited. I've talked to Kenny II here multiple times this week and over the last few weeks. And we're going to talk a lot about Dad. We're also going to talk about Ken Riley II as well. So a lot of good stuff to hit on tonight. But let's start off, guys. Let's get into it right. Let's get mad quick, James. Let's just talk about it. First of all, About 20 minutes ago, the NFL Hall of Fame announced their 15 finalists. And of course, Willie Anderson is not on the damn list. Just ridiculous. Just posted something on social media here a little bit ago. I don't know what we got to do to help these guys get in, man. But I'm telling you, before we get off the show, I got the Hall of Fame's phone number right here. I'm going to let you guys hear me leave a message for the Football Hall of Fame here. I just called a little bit ago. I'm going to call in here in a minute. But no Willie, no Ken Riley, no Ken Anderson, no Corey Dillon, no Lamar Parrish, no Max Montoya. It just goes on and on and on, man. And I know Willie's upset about it, man. But damn.
Kind of feel like we're a little Rodney Dangerfield here. We get no respect.
Yep.
We just need to take the Bengal bus up to Canton and set up our own Bengals Hall of Fame outside the pearly gates of the Football Hall of Fame. But yeah, disappointing. Like you said, Willie, I don't think held back from what I've heard on his Twitter thoughts, rightfully so. And, you know, we talked about it just about every show about the former Bengals that should be on there or in there and aren't, and just chalk this up to the latest frustration.
Well, and you know what?
Information, press 1. For general information, including address. Thank you for calling the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where excellence is celebrated every day. Please leave your message after the tone, and we will return your call as soon as possible. Thanks.
This is Bengal Jim and friends in Cincinnati, Ohio. We would like to call and complain about, one, Willie Anderson not getting in the Hall of Fame, Ken Riley, Ken Anderson, Max Montoya, Corey Dillon, Ocho Cinco. The list goes on and on. Call me. We got to talk.
Wait. Call back next Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah,
we'll
call
put
back
you on
next
live.
Tuesday, a live show, 8 o'clock next Tuesday night. You will be our first guest. We would like an explanation here in Cincinnati. We're not very happy. Call me back. Bye.
Perfect. There, we got our guest lined up for next week.
I love it.
Hall of Fame.
See? Easy.
Man,
Easy.
it's not that far of a drive, Jamie. We could pick a lot of people. We could pick a lot of people up on that bus and head up.
You know, and this is the thing we talked about several times in the show, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, but all the more reason why the Cincinnati Bengals need to do a Ring of Honor. All the more reason the Cincinnati Bengals have to do right by these legends that played for this team and honor them, because we know as Cincinnati Bengals fans, we don't get the respect at the Hall of Fame level. We need to make our own damn Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, do it right, and get these guys honored.
Yeah, like the jersey, Jamie. That's sweet, bro.
Yeah, we're a little old school tonight for you guys.
Love it, man. Love
You know,
it.
speaking of jerseys, I'm just going to throw this in right now. Since I didn't get the Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media memo to wear my AJ Green one on Sunday for what might have been his last game, I'll wear it on tonight's show in honor of AJ. AJ, I'm sorry, I forgot to wear it Sunday at PBS.
I'm sure he's fine with it.
A couple quick things here, guys. Just a shout out to our partners on Houday Nation Facebook page. Love you guys. Very fun partnership with those guys on Facebook. A lot of crazy fanatics just like you and us, man. So make sure you're following Houday Nation out there. Also, just want to, step back a little bit. Let's talk about, there's a lot of serious things going on in everybody's lives. And we have, a diehard Bengals fan who has just been at every game he could possibly get to. His name is Troy Richards. He is in the hospital right now. And I just want everybody, look, man, I do believe in the power of prayer. And let's all remember Troy in our prayers and keep him in our hearts and our mind and our prayers and hope he gets better. And if you follow him on Facebook, make sure you send him a message. Hopefully he can hear us tonight. I know he's in the hospital, but a lot of diehard fans out here love this guy, and he's a good man. And so hopefully he gets better and gets out of that damn hospital. So get better, Troy. Let's talk about we had an executive meeting last night. Tom, our historian, myself, Jamie, and James, kind of talking about our plans for the 2021 season, and I think all three of us can kind of recap it. But one of the things we will be doing is continuing the show through up until about Super Bowl. Weekly up until Super Bowl. We will have a Super Bowl special, guys, the Tuesday before the Super Bowl. Right now I've got messages, and I do have some responses back. We're going to do a Super Bowl show where we're going to have 4 or 5, maybe 6 players from the 81 Super Bowl team. We've already got a couple commitments. I'll wait till we get them all firmed up, and we'll send the announcement out. But basically what it will be is those 5 or 6 guys on the screen just talking about the Super Bowl year and the Super Bowl. We'll play some video clips. We will probably not be on the screen as much. They will, and they can go back and forth and just tell stories about that 81 season leading up to how they got to the Super Bowl, all the experiences that led up to even getting to the Freezer Bowl and the Super Bowl. And so we're looking forward to that. And we talked about a lot of other stuff, guys, about next year and some of the things we're going to be doing as well.
Yeah, look forward to it. It's going to continue on. Once the draft comes back, we'll start back up probably in that April timeframe. We will take a little break after the Super Bowl show. We're going to go back to our Sunday nights in the off season like we did at the start. So plan on switching back to Sunday nights after the Super Bowl. So we'll still have 3 more weeks on Tuesday. We'll do some replays leading up to the draft, and then we'll do some live draft coverage. And then once again during the season, we'll switch back till Tuesday. So you can't get rid of us. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to give Jamie and Jim, God bless them, do a lot of the legwork here. So there is going to be a short little break where we take some weeks off to kind of catch our breath, but can't thank these 2 gentlemen enough for all the behind the scenes stuff that Jamie does, making the show what it is, and certainly to Jimmy for lining up the great guests that we've had all year, and we'll continue that on for next season.
Oh, it's been a lot of fun, guys. I mean, it has been a lot of things to celebrate as a Bengals fan, and also 2020 as a whole has been a pretty garbage year with everything going on. But this has been fun to have that consistency every Tuesday night, talk some Bengals football. So looking forward to back for season 2.
Yeah, we have some really big names we're working on right now for the draft, the pre-draft. I mean, I'm talking big-time national names Tom's working on. We were talking about doing a live remote at the Combine up in Indy. We're talking about a lot of other things we'll kind of share as we kind of go down the road. But pretty exciting stuff moving forward here in 2021, that's for sure. So let's talk about that game against the Purple Browns, as our buddy Caleb would call them, the Ratbirds, the Purple Browns, whatever you want to call them. Let's before we talk about the game, let's pull up some of those tailgating pictures. We had an absolute blast in the tailgate. And not a normal tailgate season, guys, not the huge crowds and all that stuff. So
but we went 8 for 8. We were there.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
93. Every game we've tailgated, even the first game when there wasn't even fans allowed in the stadium, we had the drive-in tailgate. Yeah. Unbelievable. So that's our boy James right there. Brandon, Caleb, Hannah, and all these guys. They deep fried a turkey. Nobody got food poisoning. It all worked out.
Worked out good. So you see Tony in the back there supervising. He was like,
all right.
Proud to say nobody got burnt. Nobody got hurt. We pulled it off.
I tried to tell James to fill that thing all the way up to the rim with the oil and put a frozen turkey in the damn thing, see what would happen. But there's our buddy, the twins at the game. You can go through these a little quicker. My bad. I put a whole bunch of pictures and that's our buddy Caleb, who got one of AJ Green's cleats after the game. Pretty cool. We made that sign. He earned those cleats. Cameron, one of my sons, with his Isaac Curtis jersey on, got a hat from one of the players and a couple gloves, and the inside of that AJ Green shoe, pretty damn sweet there. And then that was after the game was over. We didn't want to go home. We went out to the Yard House, had some drinks and dinner, and with this motley crew right here, and walked back to the tailgate and headed home late that night. Obviously, Carrie and Tony, our friend Ravens friends, came to see us. It's a good pick. That's the turkey again. But that's it. I mean, you don't have to go any further than the other pictures. There was that was fun. It was a fun tailgate. I mean, as crazy as the year was, the people that came down and tailgated did a really good job. It was what we made it, man, and everybody there made it fun. and did it
And
safely and did it right.
safe. Thanks to Carrie, we had another round of COVID vaccines that happened to be orange, which were good. And we want to thank our buddy Dell all season with a 16 lots beer. Just gracious to do that, and we appreciate Dell for doing that, and everybody at 16 lots.
Yeah, and again, thanks to Bruce and Matt and Dell and Craig and James and Ryan and all the guys that are there extremely early setting up that massive tailgate. Thanks to everybody. But let's talk about the game for a brief second, guys. 400 plus yards rushing. Are you freaking kidding me, man? I was like, it was like I don't know, it was like a college game, watching a college Division one team play a Division III team rush defense there, James. I love your name, by the way.
Yeah. I look back to the first time we played the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson was banged up, certainly wasn't 100%, but he had 3 yards rushing. And I don't even know what the final stat line is for his rushing personally. Obviously, J.K. Dobbins had a day. They ran all over us, and just ugly way to end the year. But I don't know. I'll keep it positive. Jamie?
Well, I think we're going to get into let's put it this way. We get our question of the week is going to have to do with our good friend Lou. So I think we'll get into talking about that when we do the question of the week. Jimmy, do you want to get the race done now?
Let's go ahead and start the race. So we've got Ken Riley II coming on here about 8:20ish. But let me, before you pull this up, pull the picture of the jerseys up. Tony and Carrie donated. So here's how this is going to work, guys. Whoever wins this duck race will get their choice between that autographed white Ken Anderson jersey or the autographed Tyler Boyd jersey. So they will actually, and they win, they will tell us which jersey they want, and we'll get that out to you guys. So again, Tony and Carrie getting these jerseys for us has been a lot of fun, man. These are authenticated. The certificates are in here. They're actual autographs. I do, before you kind of put everything up here again, I hope I get this right. Ken Cooner on Twitter, whose Twitter handle is at Mars Hotel 72, advised that whoever bought $50 worth or 2 spots before noon, that he was going to give his 2 spots to that individual. So the winner of that Ken is very gracious, gave away his 2 spots. The person that put $50 down to buy their own 2 spots is Cap 49 Action. So really, Cap 49 Action has 4 spots because Ken incentivized the followers to donate, and he gave his 2 spots away to the person that donated $50. And so this Cap 49 Action has 4 spots on here. So guys, I'm sorry, I try to cut this off at 30, and people are donating, and I cut it off, and somebody didn't see it get cut off. So we have 31 ducks. And I do have a message from the Ken Anderson Alliance guys. I do want to share this message with you. They didn't know we were doing this. So here's basically what they said. I'm just going to read verbatim this text message. On behalf of the Ken Anderson Alliance, Kenny, Kevin, and all the staff, we greatly appreciate all the support from Bengal Jim and friends and all the fans in raising $777.24 for our mission to create opportunities and choices for adults with developmental disabilities to live, work, and engage in our community. That is directly from the Ken Anderson Alliance. We did not tell them we were doing this. So $777.24. And the reason that kind of a funky number, because we do as friends and family, we're paying that fee. So we're not taking off that $25. So that's a big deal. They greatly appreciate it. But we got 31 ducks in the race here, guys.
Okay, so I'm missing a couple names here, guys. I only got 29 names. Okay. Did you add a couple?
And I will go back to my list.
Yeah, just make sure. Because it shows 29.
Okay, hold on.
Nobody on a double.
Jimmy can't count.
Okay, I've got the list right here. I'm going to shoot it to you right now. You want it in Messenger?
Yep.
31 on the list.
Sorry, guys. Bear with us here for a second.
Live show. Stuff happens.
Live show. Hey, also, while we're doing this, we want to remind everybody, next week, we're going to have the first ever Jimmy Award. We're calling it the Jimmies. It's going to be way better than the ESPYs. And we're going to give awards out for Bengals Rookie of the Year MVP, suckiest coach, best water boy, best fan. I don't know. We'll come up with it. But next week, we're going to do the first ever Jimmy's and on the show, and should be a lot of fun. So thanks to our buddy Tom for his input on that, and we look forward to that next week. And a reminder, we'll be back Tuesday, through the Super Bowl. Then we come back in April. We'll let you know what the dates are going to be. So same bad time, same bad channel next week as Jamie gets this ready. I did notice there was a top hat duck. We'll see if he's back in there. He will not be the most aerodynamic, and therefore I don't think he's going to win. So
Jamie, did you get the message?
Yeah. Quick question for you, Jimmy, just to make sure. Is Ryan Luther and Tim Pennington in the list? They're supposed to be in the list?
Yes.
Okay. I had to add them to that list. Okay. I figured it out. Why the problem? Okay.
Those are the two. Those are the two that kind of came in late.
Give me 1 sec here. Let's just set this back up. Share the screen. Sorry for the delay.
And as you're setting that up, Brandon's asking, have we heard back from Carl? Carl's ghosted us, but we're going to keep hunting him down, Brandon. Believe me, I'm trying. Oh, here we go. James, our duck caller here. 31 ducks. 31.
The top hat's gone. Now there's a frog. The frog is the biggest head.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
The Donald Trump duck.
The Trump duck.
Panda. Okay. Those guys aren't winning up front. We know somebody in the back's going to get it.
Let's see. Our winner last week was John Eifert, I believe. I don't think he's in the game. He's not going to make it 2 for 2. And as Jimmy said, the winner gets the choice of that sweet Ken Anderson jersey or the Tyler Boyd. There's a Superman duck out to the lead. Boney Ham. There's one interesting name on here. I'm not even going to repeat it. You can kind of see it near the top. Ooh, Lucky 13.
The family-friendly show.
Who's going to want to win? Oh, Strawberry Duck. Jungle Joe's got the Strawberry Duck. Speaking of Jungle Joe, he brought some unbelievable beef jerky again on Sunday. Just
all right, here we go. This is where we always get out of that final.
Here it goes. Somebody.
Uh-oh.
There it is.
Broomy JME.
Yep. I obviously a Twitter handle there, guys. So if you could just DM us on Twitter or Facebook, you let us know which one of these jerseys you want, and we'll get that out to you. Either we will drop it off or we will mail it out to you, depending on where you are. So, guys, $777 to the Ken Anderson Alliance here, probably not even 24 hours, man. You guys are amazing, just unbelievable. I'm proud of the Bengal fans, man. These guys have kicked ass.
It's a great way to start. This will go towards our 2021 donation. So what a great way to start. And as you alluded to earlier, thank you to Tony and Carrie for securing the jerseys for us. And we look forward to doing a lot more of these in the future.
All right, let's get it rolling, guys. A very special guest in the waiting room. Is he in the waiting room right now, Jamie? Yep. Let's go ahead and bring on Ken Riley II. Ken, what's going on, big dog?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Nothing like a duck race to bring it on. That was
exciting. It was down to the wire, I see.
Yeah. Ken was like, what the hell's a duck race?
I actually watched the show, so I've seen it before, though. I was like, that one came down to the wire, it looks like.
Yeah. Well, hey, Ken, look, man, we greatly appreciate you being here. And obviously for everybody watching right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, obviously a Bengal great, Ken Riley, who's no longer with us, who passed away this past year here. This is Ken Riley II, obviously Ken Riley's son. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about celebrating his father's career and life. And but before we get to that, Ken, we're going to talk about you, big dog. We got some stuff that we want to talk about with you. So what was really cool about this is that you played for your dad. Your dad was coach at Florida A&M, and you were a cornerback. So we have a clip here that we want to play. We want everybody to see. So we're going to start off with this clip. Jamie, if you could play clip 1, please.
Yep. Sorry, 1 second.
It's all right.
Is this the right one?
That's it.
All right, here we go.
2000 military invited free of charge by the Kings to join the game today. Second down and 10. Torella, good protection. Good call in the middle for Thomas. Hit it out of his hands. It's incomplete. What a hit by Kenny Riley. Riley, the coach, his son's from Tallahassee. Van High School. you see number 1 there, 6 feet 170, a red shirt in his freshman year. He's really come on strong as a sophomore. Here's a good look at what the quarterback sees. He's trying to throw it up the middle, and Lamar Thomas is right there. And just here you see a big hit by Ken Raleigh, shaking the ball low, even though it had already been bobbled. And I remember when his dad used to
So Ken, I think that was a game in 1992 against the Miami Hurricanes. Gino Torretta, I think, was quarterbacking. So talk about that game. Talk about your college career. Let's talk about that.
Well, that game, that was in 1992, and that was the University of Miami. They were number 1 at the time. I think they had won the championship the year before, and they went again. I think they lost in 92 to Alabama. So, but they were stacked all the way across the board. They had Lamar Thomas and Copeland, and they had Kevin Williams, and the list goes on and on. So they were definitely talented. And that was back in the day where they can take off the helmets and celebrate. And, it was exciting at the time, us playing, get a chance to play the number 1 team in the nation. So it was definitely a great experience to go out there and play against those guys.
Yeah, so your dad coached at Florida A&M from 86 to 93. He had a hell of a career coaching, man. He was 48, 39-2. He won 2 conference titles, 2 Coach of the Years. So help me understand, though. I think a lot of the viewers, I coach my son in football. One of my sons played college football. It's one thing coaching your son, and I know I was always the hardest on my own kids. So how was Dad coaching you in college, man?
It was a great experience, but he was mainly with the offense, so he kind of concentrated more on the offense, and of course, and then I had my position coach. But it was definitely an awesome opportunity to play for my father, and him playing cornerback. I felt that there was no other place I could get that type of knowledge. So it was definitely, like I said, a fun time.
That's cool, really cool. So you finish your college career in 95. You get picked up, not drafted, but you get picked up, a free agent pickup by the Cincinnati Bengals. So you were in camp.
I came here. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. We were in camp. Tell us about that.
It was definitely surreal. My senior year, I had a couple of injuries, and like I said, I went to the combines, ran a horrible time. That kind of slowed me back, but I ended up going to mini camp at Cincinnati. That's when John O'Connor was the first pick. Coach Schuler was the coach. So it was a good time. Like I said, I was just coming off an injury, but I definitely thought that Coach Ron Meeks was the secondary coach, who later became defensive coordinator and moved up. But it was definitely a good experience. I wish it would have turned out a little bit differently, but it was kind of surreal, just growing up and now, being there.
Yeah. So you got to pick a number, right? For a jersey. What was the story behind that?
Yeah, well, 13 is not officially retired, but nobody, Coach Brown said nobody's going to wear that number again. So instead of giving me 13, they gave me 26. So that was the number I wore while I was there. Because 13 and 13 equals 26. So that was pretty cool.
13 times 2, man. I love it, man. I love it. I love that you share that story, Ken, because we got a lot of folks right now who had no idea about that story. So I love that, man. That's great stuff. So here's what's funny. So I have seen you, Ken, probably hundreds of times on YouTube videos. I didn't know until like a couple weeks ago it was actually you. So Jamie, if you could play, if you could play clip number 2 for me, please. If I have them numbered right. That's it.
The Rattler was retiring, and the Bengals' last home game was dedicated to him. Ken Riley.
Right, leave that up. So who's that dude with that coat and that hat? Is that you?
Yeah, that would be me. So yeah, you saw me numerous of times. Yeah, that was me. That's funny.
So that was what, 83. That was kind of his, they gave him an opportunity. I think it was at halftime to his retirement speech. He kind of held that back a little bit for people, right? He didn't kind of let everybody know on the team, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was publicized. I think he kind of knew that was his last year, and that was the actual last home game against Detroit, that game. So that was definitely a very cool experience to be able to witness that and get out, go on the field and see all those players. So that was a great experience.
Yeah. So I'm going to play one more clip because I'm hoping this is a surprise clip for you, Ken. If you could play clip number 3, then we're going to get in and talk some more stats around Dad here.
When Ken Riley, a rookie from Florida A&M, intercepted a Bronco pass and traveled 66 yards to the Denver 22. The Bengals, however, were unable to get a touchdown, and although they still managed a field goal, their valiant comeback died.
So,
Wow.
So Ken, do you know what that interception is?
Did he say the very first one?
I was asking you. You know.
You got me on that one. I usually that's all I do is look at old clips and highlights. I've never seen that one before.
That is your dad's first interception about week 5 or week 6 in 1969 against the Denver Broncos in Denver, man. And every time we have one of the OGs on that play in the secondary, I always find their first interception, and everyone will remember. I know if your dad was here, man, he would remember that like it was yesterday, man.
Well, you are the man. I've never seen that one. I mean, I've seen all the clips before, and I've actually, I had sent a request for the NFL to try to get all of his interceptions. I've seen most of them, but I've never seen that one. So kudos to you. You're the man. You're the man.
NFL Films actually calls Bengal Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so Ken, I'll get that over to you, buddy. And there's actually some more footage in that game that's pretty cool too. So let's talk about this, man. You know this is what we're going to get into this. So that was his first of 65 interceptions, number 5 all time in NFL history. I mean, your dad played for the Bengals from 69 to 83, 6th round pick in 1969 by Paul Brown. He was a stud quarterback in college. Paul Brown tells him he's going to be a cornerback when he gets to the Bengals. 5 touchdowns, 18 fumble recoveries. The stats go on and on and on. He was just an amazing football player that will never, ever be forgotten here in Cincinnati. That's for sure, man. So talk about, and I know you and I shared some stories about, you talking to your dad about as quiet, humble human being, one of the nicest guys anybody want to ever meet. But so tell us what he felt about kind of being, not getting into the Hall of Fame. What was his feelings on that?
Well, honestly, he said it didn't bother him, but deep down I know that it did, because he's always been the type of guy, like I say, he's very modest, and I think sometimes to a fault. But I know that he also has an ego, and he also, knew what he had accomplished. But at the same time, he was always a humble guy, and he felt that he always said, "Hey, my work should speak for itself." So with that being said, 65 interceptions, 15 years, and he got better as he went on. And to lead the conference the last 2 years in interceptions, and just me personally playing that position, I know how hard it is to get interceptions, and to get 65, that's remarkable. But as far as him, he like I say, he wasn't not going to cry. He had pride. It was like, I did the work, and I know he thinks he deserved it, but at the same time, that's somebody else's opinion. And he was proud and knew what he had accomplished. So he was okay with with this work. And if he didn't get in, he knew that he gave it all up, and he did it the right way. Did it for 15 years. Always a professional team player. So that's why I definitely had so much respect and admiration for him, because like I said, growing up, you kind of think that it's normal, and that's your dad, so it's like that's you don't really see. I really didn't realize the work that he put in until I started playing, and then just to the little time that I did play, I'm like, man, he did this for 15 years, and he did it at the highest level, and never switched to play safety. I mean, I know some guys later on in their careers, they actually switched to to safety. But he stayed on that corner for 15 years, and I don't care. I mean, number 5 all time. That's remarkable.
And just want to let you know, I don't know if you saw it, man, but we called on air the Pro Football Hall of Fame and left a message for him about Dad.
I did. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that was awesome. I enjoyed it.
So, there's some questions popping up here. I got another question or two on this, but I listened to a lot of old interviews your dad did many years ago, and some of them are still around. I kind of found a few archived ones, but as a coach, as a father, what was your dad's best advice to you, man, that you can recall? What was some of the best advice your dad gave you?
And like I say, he lived by it. Like I said, let your work do for yourself. And always be prepared, work hard. And that's one of the things that, I try to teach my boys now. I have two boys, they're 15 and 12. And it's like, whatever you do, always give it your all. And if you can walk away knowing that you've given your best, then that's all you can ask for. Even win, lose, or draw. And he always, used to say, never get too high, never get too low. And like I said, if you do those things, you'll be just fine. So that was him. And sometimes I always tell him, man, I think sometimes you're a little bit too humble for yourself, because I think that he never really put himself out front. If you were to meet my dad, and you would never know he had 65 interceptions. You would kind of have to pull it out of him. But he still had that fire, though. Don't get me wrong. He definitely knew that he was talented and knew what he had accomplished. But like I said, he felt that he would rather let somebody else say it than him actually saying it. So
I've got one more question, and then we'll go to James and James. Go ahead.
Hold on. I want to piggyback on that. Your stats said you grew up in Tallahassee. Obviously, your dad was coaching at FAU.
Right.
Did you have any options, when you were looking at colleges out of high school? What was Dad's advice? Were you destined to go where he went, or what was his advice when you were senior in high school trying to decide where you wanted to play football?
I definitely had some opportunities at other schools, University of South Carolina. I was recruited also by Florida State, and a couple other schools. And my dad, like I said, very, very laid back, and he never even forced me to play football. He actually didn't let me play into the 9th grade. So he would let me make my own decision. But I felt that, playing for him, I could get no better, knowledge or no better teaching from the guy that had 15 interceptions. So it was pretty much a no-brainer for me, but he would support my decision either way. But he didn't force me to go to Florida A&M, even though like the lineage, pretty much my entire family went to Florida A&M. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me, though.
Cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
We want to remind our viewers, I know, Jimmy, you have one more. You can start typing your questions in the chat. Jamie will get to those. And I think, Jimmy, you have one more?
Yeah, man, I have hundreds, but I'm just going to do one more to Ken. I'm sorry, I don't want to keep it. So tell the story that you told me the other day on the phone, man, that Paul Bryant had a way of talking to the players to motivate them. So there was a point in time where Paul Brown came to your dad later in his career after a draft pick and said something to your dad. What was that comment that he made to him?
Yeah, and this is another thing. Like I said, it's so much, people don't realize the pressure that these athletes are on, because it's a business. And, we used to sit down and talk, but he said that I think after a couple of years, he was starting to slow down a little bit, maybe like his 17th in the league. And Coach Brown came to him, up to him during practice, and he said, you see who we drafted, right? And then I think he had drafted someone in the first round. He's like, because I'm looking to replace you. So being my father, being who he is, he took it as a challenge, and he never backed down from a challenge. And he said that, he was the right corner, but, after they drafted whoever in the first round, they started switching him from left to the right side. And he said the first preseason game, I think they were playing against the Dolphins, he picked off 2 interceptions. And then, the following practice that after that game, Coach Brown came to him and said, keep it up. I like it. Now get back on over on your side. So it was like, that's my typical dad. Very quiet, but don't challenge him. He was definitely prideful and definitely willing to accept any challenge. So that was one of the stories I was like, wow,
That's funny. So to add on that comment, I'm pretty sure 77 was when that comment was made to your dad, because our guest last week was drafted in 70. Said it was Lewis Breeden.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's probably who it was that he drafted. So, Jamie, I know we have a bunch of stuff in the audience here. And before we close, Ken, we want you to walk around that room because we got to show some people some stuff in a minute after these questions.
Okay.
First, yeah, I'll do the questions first.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple things first. A few people in the chat are asking about the framed jersey and pants behind you. Is that game worn?
That is actually game warm. That's the actual uniform that he wore like his last game. That was his last season. So that's his actual jersey, and that's a complete uniform.
That's awesome. All right. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. Got a whole bunch to scroll through here.
And while Jamie's looking at those, Ken has some very cool stuff laid out around his house. So he's going to give us a little mini tour here once we're done with the questions, and very cool stuff.
All right. Ryan's asking what your best memory at a Bengals game is.
One of those games, my fondest memory, I think, is always on one of the highlights when they played it. I didn't get to see him a lot during the season because we actually stayed in Florida and while he was up in Cincinnati. But I think it might have been his last year, either 82 or 81, where they came down and played Tampa Bay, and he picked off the touchdown and picked off the interception and went for a touchdown. So
Doug Williams was the quarterback, wasn't he?
No, I don't think it was Doug Williams.
Was it Doug?
I'm not sure who the
Keep
quarterback.
talking. I'll find it.
Yeah, it wasn't Doug Williams, but he actually picked it off and took it all the way in the end zone. So that was pretty good, pretty cool to see him score live. So that was awesome.
So Tiffany says, is there anything that we can do as fans to lobby to help get your dad in the Hall of Fame? I'm going to touch on this a little bit too. Like, is there anything that you guys do from the family? Are you in touch with the Hall of Fame committee? Is it anything that happens behind the scenes?
Well, I've reached out to all of the senior committee. That's kind of like a taboo. You don't really know the process. I've emailed them, and I've actually had conversations with several of the senior committee at this point. And the biggest thing is everybody says they would support him, but he never actually gets into the room. But I think this actual last time he finally was in the room, and I think it came down to him and Drew Pearson this last vote. So the biggest thing is just I'd like to thank everybody for your support. Thank you guys for giving me this platform and all the things that you do. I was telling my wife, I was like, everybody's going to get tired of me on Twitter because that's all I actually do is anything dealing with the Hall of Fame with my dad. But like I said, to all the fans and all of the support that you guys have been given, I really appreciate it, and thank you for this opportunity to speak about my father, because I definitely think that he deserves it, and I know deep down one day he'll get in there. And even though I know this, he kind of felt this last time since he didn't get in the Centennial that he wasn't, but I'm like, man, you're gonna get in. So I always told him that. I was like, it's gonna happen. So that's my actual, goal, and now to make sure that happens. So
it's frustrating, on this. Today they announced the 15 finalists for the Hall of Fame, and we were hoping Willie Anderson would be on that list, and I think there's a lot of stuff on social media. I think that the thing that just really irritates all of us is the lack of transparency and how these decisions are made. It's more of a popularity contest. It seems like that's frustrating to me.
It really is frustrating. Like I said, Willie Anderson definitely is one that deserves to be in there. Actually, I got a chance to meet Willie the last time I was up there with my dad, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember what that was for, but along with Isaac Kurz is another one, Ken Anderson. Those guys definitely are deserving as well. Lamar Parrish. I hate to name names, but I don't understand. Like, there's only one person in the entire existence of the Cincinnati Bengals that's made it. That's just unbelievable for me.
We're with you. We'll keep leaving messages up there. We're going to take a bus and we're going to start picking it outside the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's not too far from us. But real quick, Ken, you're right. I'm sorry. It was Jack Thompson who was the quarterback. That was 83. Your dad had a 34-yard interception return that game. That highlight, I can see it in my head going down the right sideline.
That was it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is a great question from Damien. What did your dad respect and love doing more, playing or coaching? How was he from dad to coach and coach to dad?
That is a great question. I probably believe he enjoyed playing more because when you're playing, you actually can go out and, you have more control because as a coach, sometimes you can drill something to a player, but again, they still go out and, it's out of your hands. So you're depending on someone else to go out and execute. So I think probably playing. I think but he did enjoy coaching as well, though.
Hey, real quick, I would say I was looking at video clips and I sent a picture to Ken. Back in the early 90s, late 80s when they were playing, the coaches' uniforms were cracking me up. Ken, his dad had on these little tight green, coaching slacks, man.
They were made by Bike, so those same pants, they made them in shorts as well. I think I saw something on Facebook a while back with those same pants. It's like, those uniforms back then were.
Here's a great question. Seeing how we are all in agreement that your father will eventually get in. When he does get in, who's giving the speech?
I guess it would be me probably. Like I said, never got that far yet. Just waiting to get that call. So it would definitely be bittersweet for him not to be here. But like I said, I do believe that it's going to happen. So. And all you guys are invited. So like I said, I really thank all the fans. I really appreciate everything you do. I know I can't say that enough because it really means a lot to me and my family. Even though my mom, she's not a big social media but I send her everything I get or anything I see, I'm always sending it to her and my sisters. So we definitely thank you, like I said, for all the Bengals fans and for all you guys do.
Now, we had a chance to chat with Ken a little bit before we came on the air, and we had him carrying around his laptop showing some really cool things. We have another your wife was kind enough to set up her phone. She's got some you want to show
Yeah.
Tiffany, it's your time to shine.
All right. So that was actually a game-worn jersey as well. Like I said, that was in the 60s, 70s. So that was one of his jerseys. And that's just someone did a portrait, handwritten drawing, so that was pretty cool. And that's his actual helmet that he played. And I asked him, like, man, why would you never change that 2-bar? It was like that. I just couldn't stand that 2-bar. But he was kind of superstitious, and he was like, he didn't want to change anything. The only thing that they change every year was the padding inside of it. But he always kept that 2-bar face mask. Tiffany, go up to the Heisman, and that's actually a duplicate of the Heisman, and Archie Griffith signed it. So he was the only 2-time Heisman Trophy winner, and I had him sign it when he came down for my dad's golf tournament. So that's an awesome. And those are some balls that were signed. That's his actual 53rd interception there that he had. That's one of the cans I think you guys had, and some of the footballs you can see where he was led the AFC in interceptions. I can't remember.
Who else signed that football, Ken?
Oh man, that ball there! I have Henry Allen, Marcus Allen. That's when they won a Super Bowl that year. Eric Dickinson, who was that was one of my heroes. Eric Dickinson as well. Leroy Selman. Looks like Pete Johnson on there. Todd Christensen, Otis Anderson. Gail Spears.
Wow, very nice.
Wow, man, that's a great piece. That's a great piece.
My favorite balls there.
Hey, you got stamps there too next to that football. Those are stamps. I have those stamps.
That was cool. That's a cool stamp there. And then I have one picture with Paul Krause. Paul Krause has 81 interceptions, and that's that picture there. So that's my dad, Kenny Houston, who's a Hall of Famer, played for the Oilers and the Redskins, and then Paul Krause, who has the 81 interceptions. And I think I had posted that, like, between the three of them, it was over 200 and some interceptions. It's a crazy number.
Wow.
Awesome.
So that was that, and just some couple of.
Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Anything in particular, Ken, that you're missing, maybe through the power of internet, that you'd like to have that your dad wore or was part of that you've been looking for?
I pretty much have a lot of them. Like I don't know. Like I said, that video is I never seen the very first interception, so that was awesome. That was. Like I said,
You will have that as soon as this show's over. I'll have that to you. So
Yeah,
and
that was awesome.
James is a good point, Ken. If there's something that you're looking for the dad, like I have some pieces. I don't know if I have doubles, but I will check.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not going to share all my stuff, but over my left shoulder is a picture of your dad autograph. He
Yeah, I see
autographed
that.
for me,
Yeah.
and I showed you this on air. But this picture, I love it, man. It's just a young Ken Riley, 1969 Cincinnati Bengals. Media, I guess, photo thing they did, and I have that can you had. And I've got a bunch of other stuff over there, but
Yeah.
I have to show this, man. This one right here just gives me goosebumps. This is I'm gonna try to get my camera right here.
Yeah.
A 1973 team picture, and I just want you to see your dad and the player to his right and left. So to your dad's right is
Greg Cook. Yeah.
Greg Cook, and your dad talked about him in an interview, man. Like he said his words exactly were, I would have a handful of rings if he didn't get hurt. Your dad made that comment on an interview, and then you got the man Ken Riley. You got three goats right there next to each other, man.
Yeah. And my mom did an amazing job. She's really crafty, but she has a huge scrapbook, so she has every team photo. So I have every team photo from '69 all the way to '83, and like pretty much every article that he had. She has in the scrapbook, and it's amazing. She did a great job. And then she also had a plaque with every interception and every quarterback that he had the interception from. So she did my mom. He has a lot more things down at home in Florida, of course, but she did a great job putting all that stuff together. So it's not too much I haven't seen, but I'm sure there are some things, like I said, like that interception. But between what my mom did and my little research, have quite a few nice things.
Well, Ken, James, you guys have anything else? I want to respect Ken's time, but
next time I'm in Houston, we're going fishing. That's all.
Hey, definitely, we love to fish. I wish I would have known. If y'all ever in Houston, though, definitely reach out. I would love to take you guys out.
Yep. So Ken, we just want to just from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being here. And so many of our viewers didn't get a chance to see your dad play. A lot of these guys did get to see him play, but it's just an awesome experience for us to have you on representing your dad and the family and the great stories you shared with us. And you have my word, Ken, that when your dad is inducted to that Hall of Fame, whether it's you or somebody else up there giving that speech, when he's there, we will be there in full force, Ken. We will pack it and we will head up to Canton and we will be there for you. He's a Cincinnati football legend. He will never be forgotten. And I think I shared the story with you, Ken. Every one of my kids' middle names is after a Bengal player. My 21-year-old that's up at Ohio State, his middle name is Riley, Aaron Riley Foster. We got him the authentic 70s Ken Riley jersey. And he almost broke into tears when I gave it to him, man. So we appreciate everything, man. We thank you so much for being with us.
And again, like I said, thank you for all you do. I mean, I saw that with your son, and like I said, it really, like I said, I share all this with my family as well. So from the bottom of my heart, we really appreciate all the support that you guys are doing and everything you're doing. Not for only my dad, but all the other Bengals too, because I know there are some others that are deserving as well. So I really appreciate it. Y'all keep up the good work. I'll definitely follow you all, and I watch the show. And like I say, I think y'all moving back to Sundays now that the season's over. But definitely, if y'all in Houston or Florida, look me up. Definitely like to take you guys out, and maybe I'll hold you to that when he finally gets that call.
He just wants in these duck races. I can tell.
Ken, we appreciate it, buddy. Tell the fam we said hey, and tell Tiffany we appreciate it. And who day, brother? We see you.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Very cool stuff.
Man, that's a first on our show, man. We've had media, we've had players. Man, this is cool, man, to have Ken Riley's son on and sharing some of the stories that he just shared with us.
The stories, the memorabilia, I mean, everything.
Oh, man.
Just a home run.
Just to let everybody know, before the show started, him and his wife walked us around that room like, well, you better be prepared to do that live because people are going to want to see that. I mean, that's some gold
So
stuff right
thank
there.
you to Tiffany. She was on spot, got the other camera ready, and walked around.
So shout out to Ken's wife. I mean, she even had the lights set up to. I love it, man.
Hey,
love
Jamie,
it.
did you recognize the cases, the IKEA cases, just like ours?
Yes, sir. IKEA cases.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, hey, guys, I think let's go to, we got some History 101 to hit on here, guys. Let's bring our guy Tom on. What's up, Tom? How you doing, buddy?
How you guys doing tonight?
That was fun, wasn't it?
That was really, really nice. That was a great job.
That was fun.
He's as classy as his dad. You know that?
Oh, yeah, he is, man, for real. So Tom had an idea this week's history segment, and one of these coaches we'll save for last will tie into a conversation about today's coaching staff, which you're going to want to hear. So we picked the top 5 assistant coaches in Bengal history. This is not in any particular order, guys, but we're gonna save the most interesting one for last. But let's start off. Assistant coaches are critically important to a head coaches and team success, period. We're going to start off with a classic one here. We're going to start off with Bill Walsh, who coached for the Bengals from 68 to 75. And an assistant coach here in Cincinnati, obviously credited for the West Coast offense. And the reason for that West Coast offense, Tom, was basically because that offense they had wasn't very good, and the quarterback they had was mediocre at best, Virgil Carter. So Bill Walsh came up with an idea that was a little unique in the NFL. So, Jamie, if you could pop up some of these pictures, I think we have Bill Walsh to start off with here, Tom.
Paul Brown plucked Bill Walsh. He was the head coach of one of Jamie's all-time favorite teams, the San Jose Apaches of the Continental Football Association. He was head coach there and brought him in. He had a lot of different responsibilities with the offense, mainly the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And he was the coach up in the booth that would recommend plays down to Paul Brown to send in and or veto, and Paul would send his own plays in. But he and Paul together sort of developed the West Coast offense. There are a lot of different stories and versions as to how it came to be. The main part of it was the Bengals had a very weak offensive line in their early years. And he, instead of just having a vertical passing game, which was all anybody really had, he wanted the defense to defend the entire field. So it became horizontal. He made the tight end more of a target, which Greg Cook loved. And then, and a lot of it comes into play in 1970 with Virgil Carter. He really hit the gas pedal on that philosophy. And it went through, and then the Bengals had the fortune, after Greg Cook getting hurt in 1971, of drafting Ken Anderson. And, he took it to another level and, really, really made it a staple. And then, when he became head coach of the 49ers, the title and then the mantra went to there, but it all started here in Cincinnati.
Well, let's talk about that. So this is where I think a lot of fans don't fully understand this Bill Walsh discussion ties right into Bill Johnson, Tom. So let's talk about an assistant coach, Bill Johnson, who was with the Bengals early when Paul Brown started the organization. But let's talk about Bill Johnson and the why behind him getting the job over Bill Walsh.
Tiger Johnson, on top of being just a class individual and an outstanding assistant coach, was widely considered in the NFL to be one of the top assistants. He was in line to become eventually coach of the 49ers. And as Paul Brown was putting together his staff, he wanted Bill Tiger Johnson as his offensive line coach. So he went to them, and without 100% guaranteeing it, pretty much told him, Tiger, if you'll go ahead and come to Cincinnati with me and build this, when I'm ready to step down, you'll get first consideration to be coach. Doing everything but promising him the job. And when Paul stepped down, he kept his word to Tiger and gave him the job.
And there's been, so if today you can hindsight look back, oh my God, why didn't we keep Bill Walsh? But understand, at the time, we've had multiple players that played during that era on the show, and each one of them, to a man, at that point in time in the 70s, in 75 when he left, that year after he left, every player thought Bill Johnson was the right guy. They wanted Bill to stay to run that offense, but everyone to a man thought Bill Johnson
I think
was
it
the
was
right
just
guy.
known. He was Paul Brown's top lieutenant. He was respected. He was knowledgeable. He was a great football guy. The players loved him. In the first 2 years, he had great records. It was bad luck that pretty much kept the Bengals out of the playoffs in 1976. I mean, in today's NFL, the Bengals would have gone in as a top tier wild card team and probably gone very deep in the playoffs, if not the Super Bowl in 76 and 77. So one play kept them out of the playoffs in 77 and really kind of a fluke thing in 1976, a very silly, unnecessary Booby Clark fumble against the Steelers in the Snow Bowl.
The blizzard.
Kept them out of the playoffs that year. So they had 2 good years, and then his last year in 78, Ken Anderson broke his hand in the last preseason game and tried to come back too early, pretty much to save Tiger's job. Kenny wasn't healed up yet, didn't work, and unfortunately, it was decided that Tiger would technically step down.
Yep, Tiger was a hell of a coach. Bill Tiger Johnson was one hell of a coach here in Cincinnati.
People forget he came back to the Bengals in the mid '80s and helped Sam Wyche and Bruce Coslett with that great offense. He was the tight ends coach, and it was the same thing. All the players loved him, especially the tight ends. He was a great asset to Jim McNally, and he's a big part of Bengal history.
Good stuff. So next one on my list is Mike Zimmer, defensive coordinator, started here in 2009. This guy had a hell of a defensive coordinator career in Cincinnati. I think he came in from Dallas, but in 2009, he was Pro Football Assistant Coach of the Year, CBS Coach of the Year, Defensive Coordinator Assistant of the Year. Mike Zimmer is beloved here in Cincinnati, and as everybody will see in our chat area probably here in a minute, they wish we had him back.
Yeah, he was a top-level assistant with the Cowboys. Won a Super Bowl ring there, then stayed on through a couple different coaching changes, was an assistant under Bill Parcells. And Bill Parcells was the first one who would start looking at him in meetings and saying, "Hey, Mike, write that down because you're going to be a head coach one day and you're going to be a good one. Be sure and use this or pay attention to that." He skipped it when he left Dallas. He was in Atlanta for a year. Unfortunately, that kind of blew up. He had nothing to do with it. And fortunately, he ended up here, was a big, big asset, sort of in the reboot in the late 2000s, the 2009 team that was probably maybe the best single year of coaching the Bengals ever had that won the division. So when the defense came on, he was able to get guys, plug them in, develop Geno Atkins, develop Carlos Dunlap, built that powerful defense that we had during those 5 consecutive playoff runs. Is all due to Mike Zimmer, even though he left, I think, in 2014 to go to the Vikings.
Yep. So last two on our list here. Let's go with what should be a Hall of Fame coach here, Tom, and Jim McNally, an offensive line coach here in Cincinnati.
If the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which I'm not too happy with tonight, but if they had a section for assistant coaches, Jim McNally would be there. He was a long time college coach. A lot of different colleges, graduate of the University of Buffalo, also coached there, was part of the Marshall coaching staff that was featured in the movie We Are Marshall.
Yep.
And was at Wake Forest when Forrest Gregg was hired to become head coach and came to the Bengals. Coincidentally, the same year, a guy named Munoz was drafted, who had a very good career. And you can find on NFL Films, they did a documentary one time of Jim McNally and Anthony watching film of Anthony. And you could say critiquing, but there wasn't too much critiquing. In fact, Jim McNally told him, "Anthony, I don't think you really need a coach." But you have to look at what he did and what he built, the guys that he had. Max Montoya had just come into the league, and within a couple of years, he was elite. He was the best all-around guard in the NFL. Blair Bush was a top-level center. Mike Wilson was a powerful right tackle. And then sort of the reboot, and McNally became known for taking mid to late round players and making them stars. Bruce Kazurski, Bruce Reimers, Joe Walter before his knee injury in 88 was actually grading above Anthony Munoz. So, I mean, he would just take these guys and make them stars and gave the Bengals the most powerful line in the NFL.
Yeah, and the fun thing about it, all the coaches were talking about it. We've only had one of these guys on the show. Jim McNally on the show was just a character. He was a fun time on when we had him on the show a few months back. So the last one on the list here, which we're going to tie in today's team is Bruce Casa. Now he was here for a long time, Tom.
He was here for a long time as a player. A lot of people forget he was Bob Trumpy's backup at tight end, but was very effective. Was used to block a little bit more. Was also sort of the unofficial special teams captain of the Bengals, through his time here in the 70s. But a good player, retired after the 1976 season, bounced around, got into coaching, was actually on Bill Walsh's staff in San Francisco, and came here in 1981 to coach the wide receivers and the tight ends some. Stayed through 4 years, and then when Sam came, was given a little bit more responsibility and eventually evolved to unofficial offensive coordinator. I don't think he was actually given the title till the Super Bowl year of '88. Interestingly enough, Sam had been calling the plays.
In 87, right?
All the way through 87.
All the way
Sam
through
was
87.
Pretty much calling the plays. And it was decided with, how Sam was and how Sam worked to give Bruce a little more responsibility. So I think starting in '88, Bruce pretty much did the regular play calling. I think the fun thing, that what would have been fun, was you listen to guys that played in the '80s. I guess the coaches' meetings must have been borderline warlike. Sam and Bruce fighting about personnel, fighting about a game plan, fighting about what plays to call and what situations on the sheet. Bruce was, wasn't always known as being, especially when he became head coach here, but wasn't known to always be warm and fuzzy with a lot of the players. He was very close with Chris Collinsworth, incredibly close with Boomer, which helped a lot.
Well, him and Carl Pickens were like this. That's a joke.
Yeah,
if you remember Carl Pickens in the 90s.
They were more like this.
Yes.
Or this. But, he was, as an assistant coach, he was at the top of the, level of the NFL, which is why he became a head coach with the Jets.
So kind of tying that into today's Bengals, I see a lot of discussion on social media about, Zach giving up the play calling, and Sam Weiss did that pretty much from 87 to 88. And
Sam Weiss did that. He had the right to overrule, like any head coach should, to have that responsibility. But yeah, he pretty much gave it up, and it was sort of one of those many little things that took the disaster of 1987 and got that very talented group on the way to the Super Bowl in '88 and one of the NFL's power teams in the late '80s.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, Tommy, we appreciate it. If you're able to hang on here, did we still want to do the question of the week? I didn't know if we had that ready to go, or we.
Yeah, I like having Tom on with the question of the week.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Helps balance out the answers. All right, here we go. Question of the week. Are you surprised Lou is coming back after giving up 400 plus yards rushing to the Ravens? Let's start with you, James.
Yeah, I just read my name. Take that thing down, read my name, and go to the next person.
All right, Tom, you got honors, buddy. Tom, what do you think?
Oh, I'm sorry. I am surprised. I remember the end of the Cleveland game when Cleveland was able to throw on us. I look at the Baltimore game where Baltimore ran on us, and I looked at a very anemic pass rush, almost non-existent pass rush. And that's with probably one of the top 10 pass rushers in the league and Carl Lawson in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback and so forth. Again, I don't see any merit in bringing him back other than if Zach Taylor just absolutely feels that getting DJ Reader and getting a healthy core back will help him next year, and he believes in the system. The system from a personnel standpoint isn't bad, but in the end, it's got to work. And this is a pass-happy league, and if you're on defense, you have to defend the pass and you have to sack the quarterback, and we really didn't either.
Yeah.
Well, for those watching, put your answers in the chat. We'll bring up as many as we can on the screen. since James is sort of letting his nameplates,
You can't see it. Just put my damn nameplate up there. Let's let people see.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna borrow from something. I'm gonna borrow from a thought James shared in one of our chats that we were having back and forth. What confuses me about this move? Okay, let's go back to, yes, obviously I'm surprised Lou is staying. I'm surprised Zach is staying, let's be honest. But how are you going to attract quality assistant coaches to this team if Zach Taylor is on a 1-year deal? Now, Lou's obviously staying now, but we were talking about if Lou is going. But even now with Simmons going, everyone else going, how are you going to attract other people to come in and coach under Zach Taylor, who's had 6 wins in 2 seasons, is playing
6.5.
6.5, is playing on the last year of his deal. I think we speculate he had a 3-year deal. I saw someone read it was a 5-year deal with 3 years guaranteed. I don't even know what the deal is, but I'm surprised he's coming back. But right now, nothing really surprised me with this team. I read that statement that Mike Brown put out, and I'm hopeful that what he means in that statement is that they're going to continue investing, going after free agent signings, and improving this roster. And hopefully we have enough talent that it doesn't matter who the coordinator is. We have enough talent that it'll fix itself.
Yep. I guess for me is like, earlier in the year, I think there was some consecutive streak that the Bengals defense had where they were giving up points right before the half, right before the end of the game, multiple games, game after game after game. The Cleveland game, one of them. Even when we won in Houston, the defense kind of struggled a little bit. They gave up a lot of yards down in Houston. Bengals wound up winning that game. Earlier in the year, if you remember, they were giving up 30-something points a game and scoring 27 and 30, losing games. Defense played well there, kind of late year, pretty respectably, played pretty well. This last game, however, when you give up 400 yards rushing, guys, look, I'm forever the optimist, no matter what, because I have to live my life like that. But I can only assume, when Mike Daniels went down with COVID, DJ Reader wasn't playing. The middle of that defense was a big gap to begin with nobody to plug any holes there. But I am just going to make the assumption here that, that defensive line, the injuries, multiple guys were out, man. But it almost made me feel a little bit where I think, Tom, you might have, somebody sent this text to me where the cars warming up in the Paul Brown Stadium player parking lot for them ready to get the hell out of town. I don't know, man. I guess, look.
And backed in, starting.
Back then, they were in takeoff position. They were running. Now,
look, we do have to say, look, let's go back to the offseason. I still feel they had a really good draft. You spent $150 million in free agency. A lot of those guys didn't even make the season. Injuries. Here's how they fix this, guys. In my opinion, we'll get your everybody's comments on here in a second. I don't think this is as bare as people think, man. Not even close. My opinion is if they can be as aggressive, get everybody back healthy, they need to get back healthy. Obviously, Joe Burrow, Reader, all these guys that need to come back that are going to be starters and significant starters on this team and play. On top of that, they need to nail the draft again. They need to be as aggressive in free agency as they were last year to fill these holes. I truly, this is it for Zach. This 2021 season is it for him, man. So,
injuries happen everywhere, though. Like, what drives me crazy about this team is these other teams that have a lot of significant injuries find ways to win games.
I don't disagree with that, but you don't have the last couple of years. You've got a norm of injuries in the NFL, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Everybody's going to have injuries. To what extreme are you going to have them? Is your number one quarterback going to go down for the year? Is your number one defensive lineman go down for the year? Is one of your best cornerbacks going to go down for the year? Is your best offensive lineman going to go down? You can only take so much of that. You're right. Injuries happen in the NFL 100%. I do think this team has had more than their share of key injuries, more than the average. I think the good teams with great depth can overcome some of that. We didn't have the depth going into this year on this stuff. That's where our downfall was.
I just can't believe the same the same defense that held Derrick Henry to 112 yards gave up 400 against the Ravens. I mean, I know Lamar's hard to stop, and you guys were at the game. You see it even more on TV. The guy can break off for 20, 30 yards like that, but it's just 400 plus. Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy.
Well, I'm just glad the game's over with because that was a tough one to sit through.
We're name up there. All right, so let's go to the chat, see what people are saying. AJ says, I'm more surprised he's here because of his body of work. Historically bad. Damien says, man, I spit Powerade everywhere on James's comment. I think you mean your name tag there.
Sorry.
Michael says, hate to defend Lou, but he ain't missing tackles or blowing coverages, in my opinion. Luke says, Zach has one more year. Not many defensive coordinators are going to come for a one-year deal, which is true. Chris says, with the stadium lease looming, the Brown family must really believe in this coaching staff.
It's a great point. That is still a topic, Tom, we got to hit on at some point here. Not today, but that's still a topic we need to address.
They've really put their neck out on the line for him. I mean, he's got to deliver next year. Or it's not on him anymore. It's on them.
Mm-hmm.
So, says, Lou, you had one job. Unbelievable. Face the Ravens twice a year. You knew they were going to run the ball. Mic drop, Lou drop. The fact that Lou thinks a prevent defense is the way to play in close games tell me all I need to know.
And actually, James made a comment during the game I thought was dead on, man, that it's a rushing team. Their quarterback is a mediocre passer. Make him throw the damn ball.
Yep.
To me, we got outplayed, and I think our defensive coordinator had an awful game. 400 yards. I would hope he would say he had a bad day, at least.
This is a great point by Josh. I was going to bring this up as well. Upgrade strength conditioning program or replace whoever's running it. Too many injuries lately. No coach can succeed with that many. This is true. We're going back now the last 3-4 seasons. We've had a lot of significant injuries. Is a weakness with the strength and conditioning of this team? Do you guys think?
I don't. There's been more injuries. There's been more soft tissue injuries this year than any other time, I think. So is that COVID shortened, practice and all that stuff? I don't know.
Well, Anthony says no conditioning this year because of the COVID protocols could come into play as well. It's kind of hard to condition over Zoom, I guess. Short leash. Chuck says Zach shouldn't get more than 3 games next season. I think he's going to get the whole season next year. I think you're going down with the ship one way or the other. He's either going to turn.
Our historian Tom can answer this. Who was the last coach we fired mid-season, Tom?
Bruce Coslett resigned after Game 3 in 2000, and Mike Brown begged him not to as he was walking out of the office. And it would have been Dave Shula in 96. He started 1-6. Jimmy will remember the game. The Bengals were on the coast. They had the 49ers down 21-0. Man, it felt so good. They looked so great. Then they came out at a halftime, and the 49ers absolutely destroyed them.
I see a lot of comparisons to Dave Shula. Were we up on 21-0 on a team in Indianapolis this year and somehow blew that one too?
Damn, I forgot about that. I forgot about that one, James.
I didn't.
I remembered that.
I remember that one, guys, because I won a lot of money on that one.
Yeah.
Thanks to the early payout. So, listen, here on our show on the Houday Nation page, you're going to be hard to find Lou supporters. I think everybody was expecting some changes. I think we all knew better as fans of this team. You're not going to see wholesale changes happen quickly with this team, but I'll admit, guys, I thought for sure after that win it was going to be everybody but Taylor was going to be gone. But I stand corrected.
But if I'm going to draw a bad analogy here, man. 86-87. Everybody wanted Sam White out of here. What you're hearing today, these comments are pretty much the same thing they were saying about Sam White. A young coach who came in from Indiana, didn't have experience in the NFL, all that other stuff. I'm hoping that's how this turns out at the end of the day for him. Sam White always said in 88, the Super Bowl year, it was a game to game. If he didn't win, he was going to get fired every game, in 88. So I'm hoping that history repeats itself there with Zach.
Good point. Good point. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our question of the week portion of the show. I still
look at James. You okay, James?
I'm just what's the old saying? If you can't say something nice, don't say something at all. That's me right here in the penalty box.
Speaking of penalty box, good luck to you guys down there tonight. I don't know if you're following, but we got the World Juniors gold medal game tonight, Canada versus the U.S.
We talking about curling?
No, this is hockey. This is still another game on ice, but
just playing.
Jamie, when the world gets back to normal, you and I will meet up in Columbus when they come down and play the Blue Jackets.
Fun. That'll be a good time.
Well, let's go ahead and close it out here, guys.
I'll wrap it up. Jimmy's next week. The thanks to Tom for the ideas. The Bengal Jimmy's next week. Wait till you see these awards. They are just going to be a masterpiece. But here's my you know what? I'm going to end the note on a positive, not Bengal specific, but congratulations to the NFL getting 17 weeks of football in. You know, they were creative. They had a lot to do, move games, shuffle games. You know, we saw the Bengals complete their 16-game season, which I think a lot of us doubted. So kudos to the NFL for their procedures, their safety standards, what they did to get that in. And thankfully we had a full season of Bengals football as ugly as it was.
So I'm looking forward, obviously, to playoff football. I know it sucks not being in it, but it's going to be fun to watch. Curious to see how your friends over there in Cleveland make out with the news coming out today with the head coach going to be missing the game, and there might be a few more positive results between now and then too. So it's going to be interesting to see how these COVID tests shake up. Are you guys cheering for any of the teams? Who's your team you're backing here to see if anybody?
I got mine. I'm going to be in the minority on this one. I posted this today on social media. I think at some point, I hope the Browns get destroyed by the Steelers, but I hope in round 2 the Steelers get beat 63-0. So,
I think we have sort of a fan association with the Buffalo Bills at this point now. When Andy Dalton put the Bills into the playoffs with that win against the Ravens in the last second, although the Bills went on to only score 3 points against a terrible Jacksonville team. All my friends around here are Buffalo fans, so I'm going to be happy for them if Buffalo can take it the distance. I think Josh Allen looks like the real deal. I didn't really give him credit his first year, but he's looking like a pretty good player. So I'm gonna be secretly cheering for the Bills. Titans, I'd like to see the Titans do well as well, but we'll see. I'm just happy to have playoff football on, guys.
Yeah, should be. I like what the NFL did with the 3 games, adding that extra team in. I think is good. It's going to add a little more excitement this weekend, and look forward to it. Tom, let's hear your wrap up.
Good news and bad news. The 2021 Bengals season has started. We will be between number 5 and 7 in salary cap room, so hopefully we can re-sign the guys we need, let go of the guys we don't need. Have a great draft, get everybody healthy, and get at it. Joe Burrow will be healthy, and like Jamie, I'm a little depressed we're not in the playoffs, but let's go ahead and get at it for next year.
Yep. Well, I will say there is one positive thing about this entire freaking playoff scenario. We are not going to watch the New England Patriots play in the Super Bowl, guys.
Thank God.
That's a good one.
Thank God.
Yep. So, guys, I just want to thank everybody for being with us on another episode. I think this is, I don't know where we're at, 36, 37. I think this is the 37th episode. Ken Riley II was outstanding. Good stuff. We appreciate him and Tiffany being with us tonight. We appreciate you guys being with us. $777 raised by the Ken Anderson Alliance by you guys is ridiculous. So again, I think I failed to mention this earlier, but thanks Tony the Tiger and Carrie for those jerseys. I think we showed a picture of them earlier. $777 in like a 24-hour stretch here, guys. The Ken Anderson Alliance, very appreciative of that. We appreciate everybody. Thanks again. Here's to a positive 2021, guys, and just remember to keep Troy Richards in our prayer. I got a couple text messages as we were in the middle of the show here, and it sounds like the past hour that things have took a little bit more turn for the worse for Troy. So make sure you keep Troy in your prayers, the rest of the week here as well. So we appreciate everybody. We will see you next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody. Hoo day.
Stay safe. Next Tuesday at 8, right back here.